Hello and welcome to the Worldwake Commander Durdle episode. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting episode. Again, something I've not attempted to build before, but we've got our friend the Architect recommendation engine helping us out here, providing mental support. So here's the 180 card pool that I started with. So this is the equivalent of 12 virtual packs of Worldwake. From that, I basically had two choices. So in the card pool, we had Anawan the Ruined Sage. So I could have gone down a vampire tribal that basically hates on non-vampires. I've done vampire builds before, plus also it's highly likely that I may be forced with a vampire choice again, seeing how things pan out in Rise of the Eldrazi. So I'm not going to pick a vampire for the moment. I am going to pick the other legendary that was in this card pool, which is Kazuul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. So I jokingly mentioned, I think at the end of the Set Musings episode for Worldwake, about Ogre Tribal. That's not exactly the strategy here, but I was curious as to what sort of support ogres might provide with the strategy that I'm going to decide to go with this deck, which is forced combat. So firstly, what I'll do, and this I've found really helps speed up the process, is here is the card pool with all the cards removed that I can't play because they're not on colour for the commander. So this just is all the on colour cards that are commander playable in terms of their colour identity, but not necessarily playable with the theme. So we need to prune this down so we get our final pool, our final seed to use. So let's just spend a bit of time reflecting on this. So Kazuul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, it's 3 and 2 red for a 5/4. So 3 good hits with this plus another one, or if you suit it up, is going to do enough commander damage. That's 21 commander damage. Hang on, what am I saying? That's not right. I take that back. Sorry. Yeah, it's four and a bit hits with this. Yeah. So, yeah, we definitely need to suit that up. However, the main thing here really is I'm not proposing that I go down a Voltron route, but what we have here is whenever a creature an opponent control attacks, if you're the defending player, so they're attacking you, put a 3/3 red ogre creature token into the battlefield unless that creature's controller pays 3. So we're luring in effect, actually they're already attacking us, so we're not luring. I'm making tons of mistakes in this episode. What's happening is they're attacking us anyway, but we are able, if for whatever reason they choose or they can't pay that cost of 3, we get a token. So the question is, how do we stack things so that they either don't want to or can't pay this tax, if you like, a tax of 3 to not have a 3/3 ogre come into play. So I'm going to see as we go along what sort of things get suggested that might make it more probable that we will get our 3/3 red ogre creature token. The other thing is this is a forced combat deck what other things can we do to force combat? And so what I meant to say when I was talking about lure is you might need something else to do the luring, because this card in and of itself doesn't have any lure or any things that force an opponent to attack you. That's down to them. But what we want to do is make that happen in a way that, one, it happens, and two, they can't pay this, what do you want to call it, like combat tax, which would by paying this prevent the token being produced. So, interesting scenario. So let's look through and just see what we need to take out. Anything that's sort of borderline relevant or is thematically connected because of the set, I will leave in. I am going to leave the Kite Sail in just because the thought of a 5/4 ogre with flying, well, actually it's a 6/4 now because it gets +1, sort of appeals to me. There may be some merit in having a sort of Voltron sub theme going on here, but we'll see. Hammer of Ruin, what does this do? +2/+0. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target equipment. Okay, so again, interesting utility. I don't know if that's necessarily themes in with the forced combat, but it is related to combat damage, so we'll leave it in. It's a good way of stripping out an opponent's equipment. Oh, and good old Overflowing Chalice, the multi-kicker, well, one of the multi-kickers from the set. Yeah, we should leave that in. Helps us with our mana. Now, no, this is not an ally deck, so no. Landfall. Let's see. Okay, so we've got a pinger that pings off land coming into play. It's a 2/2 for 4. And it's only the player though. No. It's about foot, it does damage. Target play equal to twice the number of times it was kicked. So it's a 4/3 for 5, which acts as a sort of X damage spell, where our X is coming from the multi-kicker effect. But no, I think there's other things we could put in the deck. Not really a vanilla creature. Attacks target which you can't block. So we've got a 3/3 for 5 that's unblockable. I'm going to leave that in. Hedron Rover, 4/4 with landfall. Not really. Okay, ramp, yes, we'll leave that in. Skitter of Lizards. See, this is an interesting spell because if we've got a ton of mana late game to invest in this, it scales. Not great. I mean, it's 1 and a red for every counter, but it does scale. And that could get scary, so I'll leave it in for the moment. No, we're not playing swamps. We're not, as I said, doing allies. Claws of Valakut. Well, we are playing mono red, so we'll leave that in. Our Crusher Zendikon. It's a way of animating and protecting land. So if there is a Wrath effect, as long as it doesn't exile, we will get one land back in our hand, which we can then play. So I'm going to leave that in. And we're not playing goblins. No, probability of getting that work isn't very good. Bull Rush. No. One hit pump spell's not good. No, we're not playing blue. Yeah, there's better red removal than that. Here's interesting. So we'll leave that in. We're not playing Eldrazi. There's some mountains. Quicksand, not really. Smouldering Spires, when target creature can't block. We'll leave that in. And Tectonic Edge, nice way of dealing with non-basics. Yeah, I'll leave Rolling Thunder in, and the chain reaction. Yeah, we're in a creature deck. There'll be lots of creatures anyway. Leave that in. I thought for some reason there was another ogre in the card pool. Did I accidentally remove it? I'll just have a quick look before we start to... It's not beyond the realms of possibility I did do that. For some reason I was convinced that I had another ogre in here apart from... Oh, there was a Deathfall Shaman. Did I take that out? Maybe I took that out. Let's have a look again. Okay, 4. It's about 4. It deals damage to the target player. Yeah, no. Yeah, that was the one I did remove. And so I'm just trying to think. Yeah, see, I'm only playing 5. Yeah, there's better ways of doing that. If I invested, so I played 8 to cast 3, 6, still only 6 damage. No, that's why. It probably because I was attracted to the fact that I could do Ogre Tribal, but no, I'm going to go with this this forced combat theme. Right, so we've saved. We are now down to 19 cards. I'm going to firstly, before I do anything, raise my land count up. So in total I've got around, so we're mono red. Let's just start off with the standard 34 that we always seem to start with and take it from there. Right, what are we going to get recommended with? I suspect there's some obvious artifacts here that are going to come up, that always come up. Also, we should look out for enchantments that are going to do stuff to our damage capacity in some way, which would be really cool. Particularly asymmetrical. So where we're doing more damage, you know, where our creatures, particularly that token or those tokens, because of course they stay in play once if they're not removed or not either through a targeted spell or other means, either through combat, then they will stay in play. I should really pre-do this because it does speed things up. Right, Ruby Medallion. Okay, so I think it would probably be sensible certainly to have some degree of suiting so that we've got Shroud on our commander. Anything that leverages the fact we're playing red. So we should do these. Plus stuff that ramps us in some ways. We can get those mountains out. Okay. Attacking does not cause creatures to tap. Each player's turn, tap all untapped creatures he or she controls that did not attack this turn. Okay, so in this sort of deck, yes. So shall I replace it then? Can't put it into play. 7 all lands transform. So what does that transform into? Okay. Cage Sun, so we're playing mono red. Yeah. We should play Commander Sphere. Again, things that protect our commander, because our strategy does revolve, or potentially revolves quite heavily, our commander being in play. So I think I'll stick around there for the moment. Is there anything else here? Of course, Steel Hellkite, because I like Steel Hellkite. Now, I think that just contributes towards the creature anyway, so probably should be dealt to attacking creatures you control. That would be good. Now, what do I feel like removing? We destroy target criminal package. Let's leave it for the moment. Like that. Nice number of art. So, enchantments. There's a number of nice enchantments in red that multiply up damage, don't they? I've got those various ones that like double up damage. Oh, like that one. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. Oh, no, sorry. Not that one. That one's the one where it's an ETB where. So that'll be nice if we've got we're managing to get tokens coming in. Yeah, we could go. We might need to go all in with that. Creatures with flying cannot block creatures without flying. Creatures without flying. Creatures without flying. Oh dear. Just without flying. Can block creatures with flying. Okay. Yeah. That works. Creatures. We'll see. It depends on how many red flyers we end up with. Opponent taps. But it certainly synergizes with our token generation. All lands up. Oh, okay. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that player controls. Yeah, so that's certainly... Although... Creature opponent taps all creature. Let's take that one. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap. That's very scary. Well, I suppose I could. Yeah, okay. I have it in the deck, and then there can be scenarios where that would be really cool. If it's what's we deal damage to opponent. Okay, this is the one. This is what I'm thinking. That's the land. Destroy that land. So yeah, we're tying up right now. Yeah, I see what's going on. Your opponent can't search libraries. Skips that turn. So it's really, so we're locking our opponent down here. These are the sort of suggestions I'm getting, is to lock our opponent off from anything apart from combat, really. And even then make it unpleasant whenever. To play tap all lands its controller controls. Yeah, I don't know if I want this across the board though. Opponent, yeah, so buffs our creatures. What kind of creature control is? Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff dying. But you can't attack you. Each player's upkeep the players. Interesting. So they can't attack me. Upkeep. I think I'll leave it there. Okay, let's get the support cards sorted. So we'll do some instants and sorceries. We'll have a look at some planeswalkers at some point. Oh, good old Chaos Warp. Destroy target non-basic land you don't control and target non-basic land of an opponent's choice you don't control. Okay. 7 damage to a creature you don't control. Opponent's choice you don't control. Fair enough. Wild Ricochet. So we get to redirect stuff, which is fun. Creatures target player controls attack this turn if able. Yeah, that's going to be cool in this deck. Although it's a one hit, that's the only thing. I would like that in this sort of deck, being able to grab some other stuff. Okay, Insurrection deals 5 damage. Comet Storm. Choose any target, then choose another target for each time the spell was kicked. Comet Storm does X damage to each of them. Yeah, that's cool. What else we got? Do I want to do ramp? Heat ray. Okay. Sorcery speed stuff. So this is where probably our X damage spells are going to reside and get suggested. So we'll see. Also, I think there's a number of like spot damage amplifications at sorcery speed as well. Definitely wanted a way of dealing with artifacts. So interesting. Here we've got I am going to play an Act of Treason. I know it's doubling up with another card that's in here. And yeah, I should play Devil's Play because of the flashback. That's good in Commander. Do I want to play more land destruction? I should, yeah. Nothing wrong with a bit of Insurrection there for this deck. Speaking Earth deals damage to target creature. Yeah, Spire Barrage actually would be good. Because we're playing mountains, and what should we do? Do I want to play any more steel stuff? A World at War might. Yeah, let's just put that in as just for fun. Right. So, Planeswalkers, creatures, and non-basic lands. Right. Let's press on. We haven't even started on the creatures yet. Right, your opponents can't gain life. Create all one red. Does it deals 1 damage to any target. Okay. Damage. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, so put it all together on each red plane walker. Okay, so I see how that works. So the 0 ability puts counters on. The other 0 ability spits out tokens, but they get sacked. But that does synergize with some other stuff I've got in the deck, which when my creatures leave play does damage. But it does, that does exile. If I do the -2, that's the only thing. That could be useful. Animating mountains. Yeah, I'll put Koth in. Wasn't he in that Premier deck? You know, that mono red one from way back. I seem to remember. Okay. Land-wise, I don't know if I want necessarily a ton of non-basics. Of course, I probably have to play a Rogue's Passage. That's a given. Right. This is always interesting in a monocolour deck, as is Valakut with mountains. I think, at the very least, I could do that. I could do Hideaway. I don't know if I want to. I could do Cycling to thin out the deck. That is interesting in the deck, if a little high cost. Just make sure I've got enough. Do I want 0/1 red kobolds? That's the question. Yeah, let's do that. No, we won't play our friend unless I accidentally added it without thinking. So let's just cut this down a little bit. Let's get it back around there. I've got a reliquary tower. Okay, so 85 cards here. We've already got 8 creatures. Let's see thematically where this takes us then. Yeah. Your opponent's end still that progress. Attack is turning. Okay, so we're just yeah, let's just go for all out war. Interesting. Different opponent casts a spell, you may put a +1. Yeah. Okay. Creature combat. That's always good. Spell from dual control, that creature gets +2 turn, which is good for those tokens, as is that for our red creatures generally. That's interesting in the deck here. Though this does work against the destruction of artifacts. So we are removing, there's one of the cards in here that does, I think, remove equipment. So, yeah, wouldn't really want both in here, so I won't have the... Well, maybe that's answered my question from earlier. If I leave that in, if I put that in, but then take... What was it? Hammer of Ruin out. That's better. Because of course we're playing red, so we get lots of access to dragons. Control, yeah, we already got that. Okay. Yeah, let's just wall-to-wall combat. Anger. Haste. Trample. Dualcaster Mage will help with our non-creature spells or our instants and sorceries. Oh, I've got some goad going on here. Oh, look. Level up. That's quite a heavy investment though. What does that turn into? Oh, it's a meld. Okay. Let me think about that. I don't know if I want to be discarding stuff. And well, burning down other opponent's land. Stalking Vengeance. Whenever another creature you control dies, it just... Yeah. That'd be nice. Doesn't really work in this deck because I don't have enough. Oh yeah, it would be fine in Ogre Tribal, which I'm assuming is why it's picking up this. Try that. I don't know how effective it might be. Oh, in fact, I don't need to try it. So, because we've got enough here. Okay, that is our deck. So let's export it. And then let's have a look at the stats. I'm just curious. So most of our stuff. So yeah, we definitely got a majority of our stuff around this area. 2, 3, 4. We do have some high-end stuff. A lot of land. I didn't make any mistake there, did I? No. Okay, good. So I'm going to just playtest this as much as I can. Again, with this sort of deck, difficult to playtest in a goldfish scenario, but I'm just curious as to what point this commander gets out, and before that happens, like what sort of cards am I pulling, and how does my mana base look. So at the moment we're good for 2 turns in terms of getting mana out. We do have a Heat Ray, which is scalable. We do have a turn 3, another turn 3, a Comet Storm, which we definitely would want to play late game, and we have a turn 4 Koth. So hopefully, did I accidentally, yeah, I think I accidentally clicked twice there. So let me just put it back there. So we've got an Insurrection, gain control. There's the Grotag Thrasher, so we really are stuffed at the moment. That is not good. We can't really play anything. Oh dear. And now we've got our mountain. So it will be number of turns before anything really happens. And this can't go out till turn 5. Let's have another go on this. Oh, even worse. So we have a single mountain, and the first turn we can get anything out again is turn 2 actually this time. Although once we get this, we do have a way of getting some, searching out for some basics. Yeah, if I... okay, not good. Oh, yeah, so now we're in a bit of a better position, so we can start searching out for basic lands. I'm just curious without that where we would end up. Yeah. I'm not entirely happy with this. We do have a tectonic edge though, so let's just look at some sample hands. 2. That's a little better. Yeah, nothing. Well, we got a Dread Statuary, I suppose, so that will be playable. And Mountain of the Mountain. Okay. Yeah. This is not. So yeah, word of warning with this deck. I'm wondering whether it does need more mountains in here, because this is happening quite a bit where we're ending up with a couple of lands in our opening hand, but then we're not really drawing lands. Yeah, it's a bit borderline. I would be mindful of that. I'm not going to alter this deck at this point, but if you were building something like this, you definitely need to think hard. You can see what I've been working on already, giving the game away. Just thinking, what would I ditch? I want to bring it up to like 36 lands and maybe lose. One of the other steal, spells that steals creatures, maybe. Could take out the kite sail. Actually, saying that. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, the kite sail and Act of Treason, something like that. But yeah, I'd certainly, if you were going to build this style of deck in, similar sort of curve in mono red with similar strategy, then it looks like, although we don't, it's funny, in the past I've not had so much trouble, but there's a lot of, we seem to be getting a lot of this. I think what the problem is that this curve is quite stretched out. So although we've got a bump here, what would be nice, I think, in here, I don't think it's got it, but like a Pareto style analysis almost, where there's like a cumulative graph which shows you how these accumulate, but in almost like in reverse. So you could see like a stacked graph. So you could see as you went back from your high mana cost backwards, like at what points, like say, what proportion will say, more than 3 CMC versus less than 3 or less. 3 or less. Does give you the average as being 3.64. I'm just wondering with that in mind whether you would want to run more land on there. That, again, something to think about. I won't alter it here, but that will be my first feeling on that. I'm also unsure in the whole Planeswalker department. I imagine there's a number of different Planeswalkers you could try out here. The other thing is, there's ways to change the balance of your permanents. So, like running more creatures with useful synergistic utilities as an alternative to running some of these enchantments. That might be another thing, just to get the creature count up a bit more, because this is a combat, or what did I call it? A force combat deck. So if you wanted to go more for number of creatures over combat amplification, because here we're getting that through the enchantments, like amplifying up the combat damage and the effects of combat. You know, if you wanted to change the balance, you might want to introduce more creatures with more combat utility, and then dial back the amplification. But again, it's one of those things it's interesting to play around with if you build like a toolkit around this sort of style of commander, and then you can play around a bit with the balance on that. So yeah, there we have it. That's my attempts or the seeing how things pan out with assistance from architects around this Kazuul Tyrant of the Cliffs decks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, and I will see you in the next episode.